I can't believe Mr. Beast got canceled for this. Now, Mr. Beast just gave away the gift of life-saving water to over 500,000 people all across Africa, which sounds amazing, but it caused an uproar across the world, and Mr. Beast himself said this would get him canceled, and he doesn't care. But it's not because of the water. It's because of what he exposed during the philanthropic effort, and to be honest, it's something that I'm pretty passionate about. It's something that I've talked about with my friends and my clients privately, and now I want to share it with you. So in this video, I'm going to break down what Mr. Beast did. We're going to talk about what's got everyone so upset that he thinks he could be canceled, how this highlights where we are in the world of big governments, taxes, and handouts, and how acts like this change the world, not just for the people that are affected, but for all of us, and how you can get involved if you care about humanity. So let's go. All right, welcome to the channel. If you're new, my name is Mark Moss. I make these videos to change the way you think about money. Now, this is a little bit different than the normal macroeconomic video that we do, but this is still about money, and it's about how the globe works, how the world works, and money, and what we can do with our money. All right, so let's just dig in here, talking about Mr. Beast. You should probably know who he is. You're watching this on YouTube, most likely. He's the biggest YouTuber there is. He's super famous, and he's famous for, mainly he was doing stunts, and now he's doing stunts and philanthropic work. So he's helping people, which sounds pretty good. Now, his latest video, he went and built 100 wells all across Africa. He went with his own time and own effort and own money to Africa, all across the continent, thousands of miles, and put in 100 wells to provide life-saving clean water, which sounds awesome. However, the response has been anything but awesome. As a matter of fact, like I said, Mr. Beast, whose real name is Jimmy Donaldson, said, quote, he anticipates that he will be canceled following the reaction. Now, it's interesting that we see these complex responses coming from online activists. It's sort of like, the old adage that you just can't say anything right. No matter what you do, there's going to be people on the other side of it. I'm going to show you a couple of things that were said, but real quick, just so you understand what's going on. The wells that he put in, now 100 wells, provide clean drinking water for up to 500,000 people. On the 45th well that he put in, he showed that the people that live in this town had to hike a mile down a mountain, a steep mountain, a dangerous mountain, and then of course hike back up, carrying the big jugs every day. 200 students every single day made the trip twice a day just to get water. Now, that's still bringing water up there, but it's still unsafe water to drink. Now he put in a well at the school, and it's good clean water. He also went to like a hospital, and the hospital had no clean water. They had to hike, from the hospital, they had to hike 1 mile just to get clean water. They had to carry heavy buckets on their heads or whatever. They had to carry that back. He built a well there at the hospital. Seems like they should have clean water at a hospital. All across Africa, he went and did this, and he's been since raising funds. He's raised over $300,000 of funds to go do more since. Now, the thing to understand with Mr. Beast, it's not just stunts, and it's not just philanthropic, it's not just water. He's done other things. So for example, in the 10-minute video on water, he also donated supplies. So he donated furniture, soccer balls, computers, whiteboards, projectors. He built a bridge across a river to safely connect a village with schools and hospitals. He donated bikes to villages in Zimbabwe to help children get to school. And again, it's not just water. Another video, he planted 20 million trees. Good for the environment. He cleaned up the world's dirtiest beach, and he even helped 1,000 blind people see again. So, what's not to like? Why would people want to cancel him? Well, for example, after he paid for 1,000 people to see again, the online keyboard warriors came out. On Twitter, there were a number of negative responses accusing Mr. Beast of using disabled people and other people with low incomes to generate views and likening his videos to charity porn. That's what they said. Another tweet said that, quote, it's the never-ending cycle of content creation that makes Mr. Beast feel insidious. The underlying notion that if the camera wasn't on, to feed the machine, nothing would happen. The dystopian thought we're relying on YouTube views instead of competent government for assistance. Now, this is the tweet, this is the response that I want to break down. First of all, it's the content creation that makes Mr. Beast feel bad. The notion that if the camera wasn't on to feed the machine, nothing would happen. So yes, the videos create income. Yes, the videos do feed the machine. And that machine that created the money, he takes that money and does philanthropic things. That's how the world works. Money must come from somewhere. So yes, the videos feed the machine, put the money in, put the quarters in, and he goes and does this, of course. Now, this last part I want to dig into as well, and this is the part that I really want to hammer home. We're going to get into this. The dystopian thought we're relying on YouTube views instead of competent government for assistance. Now, if you think the government's going to come to save you, you're sorely mistaken. That's not the way it works, especially in these third world countries where the amount of corruption and fraud and just bureaucratic incompetence is sky high. And this is exactly why people are not happy about Mr. Beast. It highlights the fact that people, private people, you and I can make a difference, and we don't need the government for this. And this is the part I want to dig into, but I'm going to come back to this in a minute. But I saw Mr. Beast put a reply on Twitter where he said, Twitter, rich people should help others with their money. Me? Okay, I'll use my money to help people, and I promise to give away all my money before I die, every single penny. Twitter, Mr. Beast bad. That's exactly what's happening. He can't catch a break. No matter what he does, there's going to be somebody on the other side. And like I said, now he's saying I don't know if he really thinks it, but he's saying that he's going to get canceled. Now, why would he get canceled? Well, back to that original tweet. Because he's exposing the fraud. He's exposing people for not helping. He's exposing governments for corruption and not helping. He said in the video, you would think a project of this magnitude would require the resources and funding of a large government, but that's not true. You see, this is the age-old argument. If it wasn't for the government, what about my roads? What he did is he exposed the government's bureaucracy and waste. Now, just in Africa alone, he went and did this Africa. Africa is a poor country. Since 1960, it's a long time, but since then, Africa has received billions of dollars in aid. In the last 30 years alone, an estimate puts aid to the continent at 1.2 trillion. 1.2 trillion. Now, the problem is how it's distributed and who gets that money. But really, it highlights the divide between private and public. All right. So when you give this money to these NGOs, non-government organizations, a lot of these charities, these nonprofits, and especially you give these aid to these governments, where does that money go? What percentage of that money actually makes it to the project of putting the well in the ground? And how much goes to pay salaries and cut through all the bureaucracy and red tape and all that? What he did is he just cut through all that. He took the money and he went and did the work. That's it. He just got the work done. It's the difference from activism versus action. You see the difference? Activists, they want to sit there all day from their high horse and virtue signal. We should do something. We should do something. The governments should do something. Not me. I don't want to do it. I don't want to raise the money. I don't want to go there. But we, the governments, should take our money and go give it to other people. Right? That's what people think. If not for the government, who would do these things? Who would feed the poor? Who would build the wells? Well, the government's not building the wells. Like I said, it's the age-old argument, but who's gonna build the roads? I hate to tell you this, but you may not know your history. The roads and the railroads were built by private companies before the government did, before the government charged income tax. As a matter of fact, even today, the roads are paid for by gas taxes, and when the government wants the roads built, who do they hire? Private companies. Now, the question to ask is, if an American YouTuber is doing a better job than your government at providing for you, it might be time to consider why that is. And that's why they want to cancel him. They don't want to be exposed like this. But the bigger question I want to ask you, and this is why I wanted to do this video, is what are you doing? Now, I was recently on an airplane flying. I fly a lot, I travel a lot, and I was sitting up in first class. And I was sitting next to a guy who appeared to be pretty well off, and I kind of glanced over at some stuff he was working on. It looked like he was like a high-end coach or consultant, so similar to some stuff that I do. And so I struck up a conversation with him, which I don't do all the time, but just, oh, what are you working on? Looks like you're doing some stuff I kind of work on. We got to talking, and then we got into kind of politics, and we got into this conversation right here, this topic. And he said basically the same thing. Hey, if it's not for the government providing for these people, who would? Who's going to feed the poor, put the clean water in, et cetera? And so I asked the guy, I said, hey, listen, I don't mean to pry, and certainly you don't have to answer this if you don't want to, but I'm just curious, how much of your money, I know you're pretty well off at this point, how much of your money do you donate to these types of things? And he said, none. And I said, I think that's why your worldview is what it is. You see, Mr. Beast doesn't wait around for the government to go help people. He just did it. This guy sitting next to me on the airplane he believed that the government should take our money to go help these people. And the reason he had that worldview is because he wasn't doing it himself. If you're doing it yourself, you realize you don't need the government to do it for you. As a matter of fact, for thousands of years, people have been taking care of the poor. In the Bible, Jesus commands us to take care of the poor. It's happened for a long time. Churches have been doing this for a long time. We don't need the governments to do this. The other thing that I would say is becoming a parent, and for my parents out there, and if you're not a parent, maybe just try to imagine this, but you know that the greatest joy you can find in life is by helping other people, not chasing after your own selfish interests, it's by helping other people. So if you want to really see the best joy in life, you want to give to other people. But here's the problem. When I see somebody in need and I give them something that helps them, it's the greatest joy that I can have. Now, that person that's received that also has joy. They're grateful for that. Both of us get a benefit from me helping and them receiving. We both feel better in the process, and I want to do it more because I felt so good, and the recipient probably wants to go pay it forward. The world is better. The problem is when the government gets in the middle, they short circuit that whole process. Now they steal from me through confiscation, which makes me angry. Then they give to people, which makes them entitled and angry. The entire process is short circuited. So I recommend, if you want to have the joy of helping others, in my nonprofit, we say that happy people serve others. So if you want to do that, get involved. I'll put some links down below. Mr. Beast obviously has his Mr. Beast Philanthropy. A couple projects that I'm involved in. There's 3. 1, I work with a orphanage in Mexico. They help kids with special needs. It's not just an orphanage, it's an orphanage for kids with special needs. I go down there once a year on a big trip. I take a bunch of people there. We raise money. We've raised over $2 million for them. Just this last July, 2023, we raised about $400,000 for them. I'll be back there next July. I'll put a link to it down below. If you want to donate money, you can go directly to them. You can give them money. It's tax deductible. Another one that I work with is a clean water program. It's called Ocean Water, and we go give water to villages that need it. We'll be doing a trip next spring, I think March or April. I don't have the exact date. I'm going to put a link down below. If you want to donate to give people clean water, or if you want to be like Mr. Beast and go, you can sign up and you can come on a trip with me and you can help put in clean water. I'll put a link down at that below. A third one that I work with is a company called Exodus Cry, and they help people, or I should say kids, with child trafficking. So if that's something that's important to you, which it is to me, I have kids. I think kids being trafficked is probably the worst, most abominable crime there is. And if you want to do something other than just be mad about it, you could donate money or your time. I'll put a link down to Exodus Cry. You can check that out. But you don't have to jump onto mine. Go do whatever you want. Jump in with Mr. Beast. Go find your own, whatever it is. Do something. Get involved. Don't wait for the government, because they ain't coming to save you. And it just might, well, it will bring the greatest joy to your life, but it might change your worldview. You might realize that we don't need this big bureaucratic government, and we can do it ourselves. Anyway, that's what I got. I know it's something a little bit different. If you like the video, give it some thumbs up. If you don't, you can give it thumbs down. That's okay. But either way, leave me a comment. Let me know what you think. The algorithm probably won't like this video very much. So if you could help, you could share this video with somebody else that you might think might benefit from it. And that's what I got. All right, to your success. I'm out.